Have you both just booted me on the Android?
Yeah. Chapter 6.
Chapter 6.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Kate.
Yeah.
It's not her first attempt.
It shouldn't be her first attempt. She tried at various times, even before she
tries at various times throughout her life.
doesn't she?
We see the other times.
We live through the other times. We live through these harrowing times.
We see photos, don't we?
We see large numbers of photos.
We see them so close you can make out these little dots. Funny, isn't it? How everything at a certain point turns into these little dots. Even her smile.
It's a happy smile. It's a genuine enough smile.
Oh yes, it's a genuinely happy smile.
Because no one's forcing her. No one's forcing her to smile, are they?
No one's forcing her to do anything. The idea of Annie, little Annie being forced to do anything is quite frankly ludicrous.
No question of it.
She enjoys hosting these holidays because she loves meeting people. She will introduce you to her fellow guests, ensuring that everyone has a memorable time.
Absolutely. And this should be made clear. Absolutely no question of her doing what she does not want to do.
At a certain point turns into these little dots. Eyes, hair, smile.
Smiles from all over the world.
People from all over the world. People from all over the world photographed with Annie, smiling with Annie. Characters, I suppose, who've just popped in and out of her life.
Popped out again.
And then, yes, pop straight back out again.
Porno, actually, some of them.
Porno? Come on, hardly.
Pretty pornographic, actually, some of those pictures.
I'd hardly call it pornographic, just high spirits. Just the high spirits you'd expect of a girl who's always smiling, always laughing, always on the move, always meeting someone, always leaving someone, always in a departure lounge, or a bus station, or waiting by an airport carousel, or sleeping in the corridor of a train.
Always by the side of the road somewhere with that big red bag of hers. Somewhere in Africa, say, with that big red canvas bag she got from Mum and Dad when she turned 16. Somewhere in South America.
Somewhere in Europe with that big red bag.
Europe, Africa, South America, you name it. Brazil.
Cuba, Brazil, Romania, Nigeria.
What is that? Romania? Oh, that's so funny. Romania, Cuba, Florida, Australia.
That's right, Australia, New Zealand, the Philippines.
Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, the Sahara Desert.
The Kalahari Desert, the foothills.
Footfalls.
White footfalls.
The foothills of the Himalayas.
The foothills of the Alps.
That's right. What's it called?
What is that?
The Piedmont.
The Piedmont?
The Piedmont, always in some foothills somewhere.
Huh?
Piemonte. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Is it a region of Italy?
No, it's Piedmont. Oh, you must be confused. It's spelled differently to how you know.
Spelled like P-I-E-D.
Yeah.
No.
You're right, she is wrong.
It's lots more complicated, I'm sorry. Always.
We hope you'll take a lot home from this presentation on how not to read German.
The Piedmont, always in some foothills somewhere with that big red bag of hers.
Because let's face it, she is concerned.
Well, of course she's concerned. We can see that she's concerned. You only have to see her face, for example, in those photos, the way she's rubbing shoulders with the poor. She's not afraid of those photos to rub shoulders with the poor.
Pictures of her in slums with the smiling slum dwellers.
Pictures of her on hillsides with the smiling hill dwellers.
Pictures of her, exactly, with the smiling hill dwellers, whose land has been eroded, just swept off by the wind.
And on rubbish dumps.
Pictures of Annie on rubbish dumps next to smiling people actually living on the dumps, actually living right there on the dumps with their
Whole
children.
families of gypsies, or whatever they are apparently living, that's right there on the dumps.
What it's not, and this is perhaps how it differs from these previous attempts, what it's not is a cry for help.
But it's quite clear that her mind's made up.
It's not a cry for help. It's very important to establish that. Wouldn't you agree? From the outset, it's very important to establish that no one could have helped.
No one could have helped her,
That
not her
point.
mum, not her dad, and certainly none of her so-called
She wouldn't
friends.
have wanted help.
Help is the last thing she would have wanted.
She enjoys spending lots of time with guests and gets a feeling of great satisfaction when everyone is having a good time. She says there are lots of hugs at the station when it's time to go home with the holiday makers waving and calling out, "See you next time," from the train window.
Some of the strange things she says.
Some of the strange things she says to her mum and dad as a child. I feel like a scream.
I feel like a scream.
She's lying there, isn't she, with the tube in her poor thin arm, looking terribly pale, whiter in fact than the pillow.
Like a TV screen, she says, where everything from the front looks real and alive, but round the back, there's just dust and a few wires.
Dust and a few wires. Her imagination.
She says she's not a real character like you get in a book or on TV, but a lack of character, an absence, she calls it, doesn't she, of character.
An absence of character, whatever that means.
Then she wants to be a terrorist, doesn't she?
That's right. She comes down one night to the kitchen with those big earnest eyes of hers and tells her mum and dad she wants to be a terrorist.
The looks on their faces.
She wants her own little room and a gun and a list of names.
Targets.
A list, that's right, of so-called targets and their photographs. She wants to kill one a week, then come back to the little room and drink Earl Grey tea.
That's right. It has to be Earl Grey tea. And it has to be one a week.
Her poor mum and dad are horrified.
They absolutely don't know how to take this.
They've never bought Earl Grey tea in their lives.
She'd like to act like a machine, wouldn't she?
She'd like to be a machine. Sometimes she spends days on end, whole days on end, pretending to be a television.
A car.
Or a car.
Or a television. An automatic pistol or a treacle sewing machine.
She's an excellent singles host and loves to take people on guided walks.
A sewing machine, the things she comes out with.
Then, of course, she's off around the world. 1 minute it's Africa, the next it's South America or Europe.
Somewhere in Europe.
Europe, Africa, South America, you name it. Brazil.
Cuba, Brazil, Romania, Nigeria.
Romania, Cuba, Florida, Australia.
That's right, Australia, New Zealand, the Philippines.
Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, the Sahara Desert.
Kalahari Desert, foothills of
The
Himalayas.
foothills of the Alps.
That's right, that's what they call it.
The Piedmont.
The Piedmont.
Oh, of course it is, yes, always some foothills somewhere with that big red bag of hers.
And the same hair, don't forget the same hair down to her
The
waist.
same long hair down to her waist at 40 as she has been. Like a young girl still, isn't she, in some of those pictures?
Even at 40, she still looks and dresses like a young girl half her age.
But what's really conclusive is the bag is full of stones.
Fascinating thing, right?
I'm so sorry.
So the bag turns out to be full of
The
stones.
stones are there to keep her under. However much she thrashes, the handles of the bag are tied to her ankles.
No question, in other words, of a cry
In
for
other
help.
words, she's planned all this. She's planned on thrashing. She knew she'd thrash, and equally, she knew that the bag would go on dragging her down regardless. So there's never any point, any question of the attempt failing. There's never at any point any question of anyone being able to intervene. Not mum or dad, certainly.
Certainly not mum or dad, and certainly none of her so-called friends.
If you call them so-called
Well, you
friends.
obviously can't call them friends.
She likes to attend keep fit classes, amateur dramatics, and takes part in lively cabarets. She is also a member of her local rambling club.
And we're tempted to think, aren't we, that perhaps the bag was always full of stones, from the moment, in fact, that she left the house, her mum and dad's house, on his 16th birthday, aren't we? Well, aren't we?
Aren't we what?
Tempted to imagine that maybe the bag was always full of stones from that very first day, from the moment she went down to her mum and dad's path and closed her mum and dad's gate and caught the bus, that the red bag in the photographs is full of stones, that on the trucks and trains and mules she used to climb up mountains, and on the dumps and the slums and hillsides in cobbled Renaissance, what was that? Piazzas. The bag was full of stones. And in the shut up, and in the refugee camp where she posed at their request next to the stick like dying, just as she posed apparently without a murmur beside the Olympic swimming pools of paunchy billionaires, and the bag is full of stones. And on the airport carousels, particularly on the airport carousels at 2 AM, waiting travellers from other time zones and war zones for the machinery to start and the luggage to appear through the black rubber curtain on the black rubber track, the rucksacks and the leather cases. What is that?
Samsonite.
The Samsonites and the taped-up cardboard boxes. The bag, that red bag of hers, is full of stones.
Can't be sure.
Well, of course we can't be sure, but from what we know of her, from what we see of her, it's not impossible.
We can't be sure that the bag is full of stones. It could be full of old clothes, drugs, anything.
Why not? Why can't we be sure? Why can't we say once and for all that that bag is full of stones and that the stones explain the smile?
The stones, it's true, would explain the smile.
The stones would definitely explain the smile from what we've seen of her, because there is a funny side to this.
What?
A side, a funny side.
Oh yes, there's definitely a funny side.
Anne feels that there is sometimes a problem with the word singles, as it is often misunderstood. She would like to stress that these holidays are not matchmaking events, but instead bring like-minded people together in informal and friendly surroundings, allowing them to enjoy a holiday together and leave as friends.